Hey, this is Mark from Casting Crowns, and you're listening to Dispatch Radio.
Folks, we are pushing hard. Killing Jesus is premiering on Sunday, and you don't want to miss this. This is Nat Geo at 8 p.m. We talked to Waylon Green about the story, putting it together, adapting just a great and popular book. And now we get to talk to the lead who plays Jesus, and it's Haaz Sleiman. Haaz, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I just, after hearing you, thank you for having me, by the way. And I just heard you say that you had Waylon Green on. I'm like, I cannot be the one to follow after this man. He's incredible, and I think he's just so eloquent. Now I'm like nervous. I don't know if I can do this. I'm starting to question myself.
Oh, well, I tell you what, Haaz, it is a great project, and it is something you really hang your hat on because I think you really accomplished a lot of things that you set out to do. It is a beautiful historical depiction. I'm fascinated to hear a little bit about your background. I guess you were raised in a Muslim home, and it's got to be an interesting phone call home to the family, right? To say, listen, I'm playing Jesus, and
yeah, it's not something that happens every day, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it was actually quite simple and beautiful. It was not as, I guess, dramatic as one would think it would be, right? But I remember found out, and then I called my mother and I told her that I got the part, and then she said, "Bless you, my son, for playing our prophet, peace be upon him." And I thought it was just beautiful, just simple, and she was very calm and just so grateful as I was. I mean, of course, there was a lot of other stuff happening afterwards, thinking, am I going to be able to do this? Am I good enough? Do I trust myself enough? And funny enough, the one thing that was able to help me get through it because of, the pressure and wanting to make sure I do everything I can for everyone who believes so much in this story, and or people of the Christian faith, or just people in the world altogether, everyone, because I feel that story transcends all. There was just a lot of pressure. Everybody knew it. It's the most famous story, I guess, and he is, probably the most famous historic figure of all time. And so no pressure in all of that. I was just sitting thinking, where do I begin? How do I do it? And profoundly, Jesus himself, what he stood for and his essence is what really actually got me through the whole thing. And it was me really just being inspired by him, being moved by him, being touched by him, and reminded that, in the end, he came to do one thing and to celebrate humanity and the beauty of humanity. He had such love for humans and human beings and for us and what we're capable of. And he just came to show us that, show us what we're capable of.
How familiar were you with the book, and what parameters did they kind of give you to kind of go on, like what their take on this portrayal of Jesus was going to be?
I started first. The first thing that I had access to was the script, the screenplay that Waylon Green adapted from the book, and then I read the book. I think, first of all, the screenplay, as an actor, that has to be your foundation. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just very important because that's the foundation for any film, and it's the foundation for the actor, it's the foundation for the director, for the editor, for everyone. That is the basis. Now, it was based on Bill O'Reilly's book, so obviously then that's also part of the foundation indirectly. But then I read the book as well, and I thought it was fantastic, and I really, really was happy that I got to read it afterwards, because I also got to learn a lot about that story, many aspects of it that we never, like most people, didn't know, and that's what's really special about this production. And aside from, if you start with Bill O'Reilly, his love for that man and his love for and curiosity for wanting to know as much as possible historically what happened during that time. And when it came to the historic, political, social conflicts that led to Jesus' crucifixion, and that gave birth to the book Killing Jesus. And then from that book, Waylon Green wrote the screenplay, and then that was probably the most difficult, massive undertaking that any writer can maybe take upon and try to like write it into like a 2 hour, 3 hour feature film. And it's just like it's a huge story with so many different storylines, specifically in our version of it because we're tackling into the political and historic aspect of it. So then you're trying to follow all the different storylines from the Roman governor Pilate to Antipas, King Herod's son, to King Herod, to the wife, the queen, to the daughter Salome. I mean, and then really get that perspective of those people, what they were going through, and their decision-making process regarding Jesus, and even you see the dynamic of how they hesitate, or they're not sure, or they seem uncertain about what decisions they need to do about this whole, this guy that's coming in and creating this disturbance in the air, even though it was a peaceful and loving one. But to them, it was a disturbance. I mean, to other people, it was inspiration, it was oxygen, it was air, it was hope, and love. But I think, starting with that, starting with the script Waylon Green wrote, and then Bill O'Reilly's book, I had a lot already to work with, and then doing research, even some more from the Bible, from people, priests, talking to priests, and just talking to many people from all walks of life about either the historic aspect of it, the political aspect of it, really understanding that time, that region during the Jesus time, and getting a really more thorough, detailed description and understanding of it, which, again, kudos to National Geographic for trying to be as authentic as possible regarding all of that, historically speaking, whether it be, how it looked, what they dressed, what they wore, certain traditions, certain events, even like, the Last Supper. We were just very, very. It was important to us not to do the Renaissance paintings.
Yes, it was very authentic.
Of Jesus.
Yes,
Yeah, we wanted to be as authentic as possible, and National Geographic was wonderful in that sense. I mean, they always try to do that, and the casting was no exception. I mean, the fact that they really wanted to cast people who looked like they are from that area, from the Middle East. I mean, that on its own, you can see not only in the casting but in every aspect of the film and the story. And so it's just refreshing to get this perspective and this version of the story, and it's very grounded. It feels very real and grounded, and we purposefully did that because we wanted to take this very powerful, inspiring story and let it reach everyone, not just Christians, but everyone, because I feel the more you can make it human and humanize it and relatable, the more it can reach people. And so that on its own, I'm really proud of, and it's very important to me. And it's in alignment with Jesus' teachings, which is love your neighbor as you love yourself, which means you should be inclusive of people in terms of your love. When it comes to your love should be inclusive of all, even if you agree to disagree. And he did that, and he walked around trying to make people understand that. And I think, again, that approach to me is important because of that, in alignment with his teachings. So you can really explain it in many directions. You can like talk to the director, and he can give you his perspective about why it's being humanized. For me specifically, would be my reason.
Haaz Sleiman, talking about Killing Jesus. He stars as the title character, and it is a very powerful Nat Geo production. It airs on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's March 29th. Make sure you set that, tune that out to your DVR. Make sure you catch it no matter what. We'll link to the trailer, put some other information up for you with this interview so you can catch that online as well. And Haaz, is there a certain scene, the story, as you said, it's got a very broad context. It's trying to bring in a lot of different aspects of stories that maybe haven't really been adapted to film before, and those kinds of things. And is there a certain scene that you're just really pleased was able to be captured?
Yeah, I have to say, like the relationship he had with his mother, and the scenes that he has with his mother, I think they're really so beautiful and profound, and it just shows you, in a way, how much he he understood what his mother has to go through, and she probably didn't even know to what extent it was going to be, and as it was all unfolding, and it is just to show that humanity of it, of that moment, of him looking at his mother in the Christian religion. As we know, he's the son of God, he's God. And so, but that's not, that's already there. And so to then show this other side of it, where he did choose to come as a human, he did choose to come through a woman's womb, and when you cut him, he bled. When you punched him, he felt the pain. So there was a human experience that he was having, and to be able to show that in, for instance, like how he dealt with his mother, and the relationship he had with his mother, and the love that he had for her, and the concern that he had for her, knowing that she was going to see him crucified.
What was the exact line? Because Waylon has a great line of dialogue. I kind of made note of it too. Was I was in pain from the absence from you. How did that go? But it was just very beautiful. Of Mother, I've missed you so much. It's pained me that I've had to be away from you.
Yeah. The mother. I'm trying to let me see if I can remember it. Mother, I have so longed for you. The pain of absence has been terrible.
Yes. Yeah, it was beautiful.
And it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful, Waylon, and just wrote such beautiful words. But obviously, also Jesus had amazing, beautiful words. When you talk about when he preaches, or he says what he says. I mean, just beautiful. But yeah, that moment is heartbreaking, and it's beautiful to watch because divinity is there, but the beauty is in humanity. That God created humanity. Everything that God creates is magnificent. And so it's the idea of having him go through that journey of being human and moving into divinity, which is what he was. And so seeing that, to me, is the reason why that's so important as well in this version and in this interpretation, shall we say, of this telling of this story is this. Like, people, when they watch this story, often they will walk away thinking, wow, Jesus, amazing, the Son of God, of course, but I'm human, and what can I do? I can't, I'm only human. I can't really do much, and I'm weak. I'm not Jesus. He came to show us the opposite. That's the point. He came to show us, no, you are human, you are magnificent, you are capable of so much. If you let love be your guide, you can do so much in this world and do for each other such amazing, incredible things. And there are today, right now, I know many of them, human beings in this planet today that have done unbelievable, incredible things. And that
Absolutely.
makes me proud to be human. And so for me, humanizing Jesus and humanizing the story was simply an homage to what we as human beings are capable of, to be inspired by, and to be, as an example, to live by that in our lives today. It's not like this story happened so long ago and it's so far from us now. It is so timely and timeless. It'll never be a story that will ever lose its power and momentum. And I think today more than ever, we as human beings, we need to feel empowered. We need to feel capable. We need to feel that we are strong just because we are human, and that being human is a beautiful thing. It's not a bad thing. And I think that was essentially his message, his essence, was to remind us of that. And I just hope that people will see that this film essentially was there to celebrate humanity. And thus, that's why it was humanized to that level.
Especially with your background as a Muslim family, how has this changed? And I'm going to close out with this question of, how did this change your relationship to God, how you see God, how you define God, and in Jesus' role in that?
To really strengthen my connection with God was absolutely one of the first things. Is like I realized, my connection with God is not as strong as I thought it was. Number one,
wow.
And my trust in Him is not as strong enough. And I realized that if I don't trust myself, then I don't trust God, because God created me. He gave me my mind and my body and my brain and my soul and whatever you want to call it, like however you describe it. He gave me all of that. It was all a gift. He has given me the gift of life. So if I don't trust myself, with this gift that he's given me, that is me. I am that gift, that I'm not trusting him. And so the biggest thing is to really strengthen my connection with God and make it the most important thing. Nothing comes before the connection with God. Nothing. There's nothing in this planet, in this world, is more important than my connection with God. And when you do that, when you really do that, you really end up enjoying being on this earth and wanting to be here and nowhere else. It's not like you want to rush and get out of this planet to go somewhere else. You actually want to be here and you want to stay here and you want to celebrate everything that God created, including all these other people that are running around this globe.
Amen.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, even if they think differently, even if they have different beliefs, you want to celebrate them. You want to celebrate the differences.
And yeah, absolutely. It's great stuff, folks. You want to check it out. Killing Jesus airs on Sunday. That's March 29th at 8 p.m. on Nat Geo. You want to definitely check it out. Partnership with National Geographic. We'll definitely link to the trailer, some more information. It's been such a blessing to be able to talk to Haaz about the role and what it's been like to bring it to life. Thank you again so much for fitting us into your schedule.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.